Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I am Ryofu, and you are watching The Gaming Harbinger. Today's video is going to be a special video. Rather than do 15 to 18 minutes of a video covering the Xbox 2020 July event, I have decided to dedicate an entire video to Halo Infinite. Because, let's just keep it honest, let's be 100. It's the most anticipated game that was going to be shown there. But before I do that, I do want to give a disclaimer. I own all the systems for this generation, most of my friends play on Xbox, and my first console online experience was on the original Xbox. But as I'm sure you noticed from the banner and the profile picture, I love anime. I have a soft spot for JRPGs and Japanese games in general. It is my destiny to own a PlayStation and Nintendo console. So I have love for all the systems. Just wanted that to be noted before I go any further. This video is for people that are adults. Scratch that. Mature people. If you can't have a mature conversation with someone you disagree with, this isn't the video for you. I am going to say something a lot of people will agree with. And I'm also going to say some things that are very unpopular opinions. But nevertheless, you shouldn't engage if you are some fanboy on either side. Alright? Cool. And I will also go over the event as a whole in a follow-up video. So, enough of me wasting your time, let's just jump right in. As I'm sure most of you are aware, Halo Infinite has been under scrutiny for its display of average-looking graphics. Comments have ranged from the graphics being bland to not looking next-gen. The list goes, well, infinite. So what's really going on here? Is the hate warranted or people just being really cynical? Well, upon my initial stream of the show, I did feel the graphics didn't blow me away. It hurts me deep down in my soul to say that. But by no means would I say they are bad. But I would be lying if I said Halo Infinite's graphics look way better than Halo 5's. That's just not the case. The first thing I did was find a video of the event in 4K and rewatch it. As I stated in my PlayStation 5 reveal video, I cannot capture in 4K as of right now. When it comes to getting clips from trailers and unreleased stuff, I can't even record in 60 frames per second. And I'm kind of working on that. But anyways, you work with what you got, right? But my point still stands. You need to watch these stream videos in 4K, and you have to understand we are losing a little bit of the magic due to YouTube's compression. But even with that being said, the most impressive game for me that is next gen has been Ratchet & Clank. What makes that even more hilarious is that I am not even a guy that's into playing as furries. But I did feel the wow factor when seeing that game in action. So does that mean the graphics are just lackluster and that's it? I think I might understand why some people are not seeing this game as next gen. Remember, Inside Xbox in May showed us a game called Bright Memory Infinite. Yes, it's a multi-plat game. But do you remember how it looked? According to the legend, this game was made by one man and one man alone. But I'm not trying to get into all that. But you can see just how impressive the lighting and weather effects look in this game. I mean, the rain's coming down, the lights bouncing off the building, and you can even see how the wind is blowing the trees and the leaves. It all just looks very alluring, just very attractive. Really cool stuff going on in this game. It just looks very busy, but in a good way. Now let's transition back to Halo Infinite. What do you see? Well, the scenes in the ship look good. But once we step outside, there isn't a whole lot going on. There were a couple of rabbits and occasional birds flying by, but everything appears pretty static. A clear blue sky, some sci-fi looking buildings, grass, and clouds. I mean, the grass is moving and that's about it. Even if I use Ratchet and Clank as an example, the bottom line is this game just had a lot of particles going everywhere when enemies were being hit. And then when you go to the jumping in and out of dimensions, that just looked nuts and so super fluid. Again, just another busy game. So, do you see where I'm going with this? I think when it comes to Halo Infinite, because there isn't a lot going on and everything is just spread out, it makes everything stand out less. According to 343, Halo Infinite has double the pixel count of Halo 5. They should have picked a better map, or if it's all one big map, they should have picked a different time of day in the game to show us. That demonstrated how awesome the graphics look. I don't doubt the coronavirus affected Halo Infinite. In fact, there were a couple of articles that were published on old Phil Spencer saying he wasn't worried about COVID affecting the hardware side, but more of the software side. A couple of these articles came out well before the May event, but according to one of these articles, the game was going to be fine and not affected. In fact, any of the games coming out in holiday 2020 would be fine, but it would be the ones coming out in 2021 that would be affected. But with that being said, I'm sure a game like Halo Infinite did lose some extra polish time. Another thing we have recently heard is that this was an older build of the game. This was essentially the build that was for E3. So here's a couple of things about that. I believe them. It probably is an old build of the game, and it takes away from the other duties to make these playable demos. I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of devs aren't too crazy about doing these. Another thing that has been brought up is that it is not running on an Xbox Series X, but a PC with the same specs. Okay, so I'm gonna get a little spicy for a minute, but hello McFly, are you new to gaming? This has been happening almost 2 decades now. This is just a lame talking point, and I feel it's one of the few talking points that I don't even care about engaging in because I don't know where you've been, but this is not a new concept. So at this point, the camp that wants to spit on Microsoft's grave are calling me a shill, a hack, and they got their pitchforks at the ready. They're probably half raised, but hold on a second. There are some parts of this next segment you will enjoy and it will bring delight to you. And it's because I guess I'm here to just piss off everyone equally. No stone will be left unturned. So let's take a look at all the things that have affected the game. So according to Microsoft, there's still time, no biggie. Ray tracing will be added as a patch later. This is an old build. According to Digital Foundry, the type of lighting they went with for the game looked flat due to the time of the day that was in the game. Also, pandemic. And last but certainly not least, 343 built an engine from the ground up. So when you look at all this stuff, you would be inclined to believe those are reasonable excuses. They're still excuses, but I don't think it's just pure incompetence. They're reasonable. However, here is the part that the console war fans on the other side will eat this up, so enjoy. So, okay, with all this stuff being said, right? If I were to talk to a Halo fan and had to convince them that Halo Infinite is fine, If I had to say, don't worry, man, the game is still going to blow your mind, I couldn't do that. Because I'm actually a little concerned here. Let me say this another way. This was the event. This was supposed to be a game changer. Aside from the May event being labeled as gameplay, Microsoft has been making all the right moves. Halo was supposed to be the obvious win. It was supposed to be the Xbox Series X must-have title. It still might be. The gameplay and story could still be impressive. But this was supposed to wow everyone. Those graphics, while not horrible, didn't wow anyone. And it's depressingly painful for me to have to say that, but it's true. Now, is it possible that some kinks have already been ironed out and it will look way better this holiday? Of course. But this was supposed to be MS winning back, or at least softening up those 360 fans that left in 2013. So this event did not do that. I would say probably the worst thing out of all of this is that Halo's graphics overshadowed the rest of the event. This even overshadowed that every game shown at the event would be available on Game Pass. Which I think Game Pass, by the way, is an insane deal. It's just hard for people like me to say that final goodbye to physical media. So anyways, where does all this leave us? I'm planning on getting both systems at launch, unless for some reason I just don't make it in time, but I'm looking forward to that. And I'm sure if you're already part of the Xbox ecosystem, you are fine. You're probably still in a good place and happy and have tons of games to play. But on the outside looking in, it didn't bring any of those people that are not a part of the group back in. Well, okay, I think that's going to do it for me. I can't really think of anything else to discuss on this. Here's to me hoping that 343 is able to pull this off and the game will be a success and it'll look way better. I really do hope that's the case. Please let me know your scathing hot takes in the comment section below. I know some people absolutely detest Microsoft, but I guess in some ways I feel the hate is a bit much. It's not warranted. And don't get me wrong, they've made mistakes. I think some of the hatred they did bring on themselves. But I do feel you should keep an open mind and not let bias blind you from something being inherently good or bad. Just something to think about. And it's not 2013 anymore. Alright guys, until next time, I will see you in the next video.